AIM-listed Power Metal Resources is a global multi-commodity project group with 14 different commodity projects around the globe. Some are early stage exploration, some are being drilled as we speak, and others are being spun off into separate companies to be prepared for an IPO. Once again, I'm joined by Chief Executive Paul Johnson to bring us up to date on progress. Hello again, Paul. How are you doing?
Hello, Alan. It's been an absolutely crazy week so far in our space, hasn't it?
It's been absolutely crazy and more besides. And I'm just thinking, I mean, we speak pretty regularly and some fairly seismic events have occurred since we last spoke. But before we get onto those, I want to address some housekeeping in a sense. The company's AGM will be held on March the 30th, and a further general meeting is being held after that, seeking shareholder approval for resolutions enabling Power Metal to distribute to shareholders. Can you elaborate?
Yeah, sure. So the AGM, 10 o'clock on the 30th of March, it's in London. And all are invited to attend. Please come along. I will buy chocolate biscuits, if that helps, as an incentive. And you can meet the people in the company and have a chat. AGMs are normally quiet affairs. Not many people there. But it's a good opportunity to meet members of the team. And if you want to come along, you are welcome. An hour later, we have the general meeting, another meeting, which is pulling forward resolutions that are required as we go through the process of what's called a capital reduction. Don't worry, it doesn't mean anything bad. It's just a technical exercise to effectively eliminate the historic retained losses of the business, which have been incurred over, I think, circa 12 years or 11 years, which puts us in a position so we can pay cash out through dividends or distribute certain assets, for example, shareholdings in other companies, if we choose to do so.
Understood, Paul. Okay, so I guess some people might be asking, will there be a bar at the AGM too?
I tell you what, the way things are at the moment, there might need to be one. It's 10 o'clock AGM, 11 o'clock general meeting. I don't know. We might go to the bar afterwards. It depends on what the metal markets are doing and the stock price.
Understood. Okay, Paul. So on to, of course, the seismic events of the past few weeks. And first of all, of course, our thoughts go out to all the people in Ukraine affected by the invasion there. But it has created some seismic moves in the market for metal prices, the stock prices, and others. And of course, we've most recently heard about the nickel price nearly doubling in value. Of course, it's well documented that Russia produces a huge amount of global nickel production, annual nickel production, and copper production too. So that's immediately been taken out of the market, which has resulted in a price squeeze. How do you see it, Paul?
I don't know. Maybe the Russia-Ukraine situation is a bit of a black swan event from a market perspective. Generally speaking, over the years, the promises for green technology, the demands on forward metals compared to the underlying supply and the investment in metal production have been out of sync. So we've always been heading to a situation of a super cycle, I think, in the metals environment. We saw the metal prices building up pre the Ukraine-Russia situation. It has, of course, caused even more of a reaction. Metal prices a lot higher again. And people can start to see in our space, because, I run a public company in the metal space. So I have to focus on that rather than the political situation. We can see as investors and people running companies the enormous opportunity that lies for us in our environment. We've suffered over the years and we've really been under pressure. It's been a long time since the last major run in the metal space. It's been underfunded. It's been underappreciated, notwithstanding the fact that everyone gets up in the morning and has a cup of tea from a metal kettle, goes to work in their metal car, uses their rare earth tungsten-driven mobile phones, all these different things that we rely upon metals for. The space itself has been neglected. So those investors in that space have also been neglected, have also suffered, and I suspect the time is now coming where the returns will start to kick in, and people will make those gains that they've been long hoping for.
Okay, so Paul, back to Power Metal. Of course, we've talked about the GM, the upcoming general meeting. What else is in the pipeline for investors in the near term?
Oh, we've got so much coming up. It is quite difficult to keep track from an investor perspective. You know, on the odd occasion, it's quite difficult internally to keep track of everything that's happening in the company, and that's why we have a team now of 9, soon to be 10, with our uranium specialist coming on board. We've got active operations around the world, 3 continents, 6 countries, and 14/15 projects. People quite rightly have been focusing on our drill programs, and that includes the Tati gold nickel project in Botswana. It includes Heneti nickel PGM project in Tanzania. It includes Australia with our diamond gold drilling in Victoria. So there will be news from those projects, of course. We have ongoing exploration in multiple other projects that will yield further news. And I'm very optimistic about our news flow going forward and what it will provide to the market and to shareholders. And then we have the various corporate activities, including the IPOs that we're planning to undertake.
I was going to say, on the IPOs, of course, it was announced yesterday that Gold Metal Resources is now a PLC at Companies House. So that's very much on the runway, isn't it? How is that progressing?
Oh, it's great. It's oodles of work. It's lots of meetings. It's lots of documents flying around. Once we've finished here, I've got to crack on with another couple of documents, cash flow forecasts, all the things that you have to do when you're preparing a vehicle for listing. Of course, our excitement isn't in the administration process, which is going well. Our excitement is in what we're learning about these projects as we do more and more work. The advantage of the listing process is that you really do get to look in technical detail at all your projects that are in that listing package. They are all subject to a competent person's report, and we've really gone for the best, one of the best providers of that technical support. We've found out from independent studies on our projects, including Pilot Mountain, Golconda, Garfield, Stonewall, the potential that they hold and what we can do with them. And we're very excited about that. It's going well, and we're particularly excited about the project package. Excellent.
Of course, one other factor that the Ukraine invasion has created is an increase in the gold price. The gold price has, of course, pushed through $2,000 a troy ounce. What impact has this had on Power Metal gold projects? And I'm thinking here, of course, the new Ballarat Gold Company in Australia, Alamo Gold in the US, and so on.
Yeah, okay. Let me be honest and frank with you. It's whatever happens in the metal markets doesn't change our business. Whatever happens in the sentiment outside this company doesn't change our business. We have a collection of projects that we push ahead at pace. And we're trying not to jump around onto the latest theme. We don't have to, because we've got 10 commodities under the umbrella across these 14, 15 projects. We have a different approach, some corporate focused activity and some exploration activity. And we just push on at pace no matter what. We invest significantly and continuously in what we do. So it's great to see the gold price move up. The gold price generally is the barometer of our sector. When we see gold move, we know it's a good thing, and move upwards, that is. And the other metals, of course, add further encouragement into the mix. But also, there's a detachment at the moment between the metal markets and the junior resource stocks. And it's beyond bizarre. I was speaking to someone this morning, another company director, who, like me, has never, ever seen such a wide disconnect to absolutely absurd levels. A few years ago, if you had a bit of uplift in the nickel metal price, and then you had a 2 or 3, 4% uplift day, there would be a rampant excitement, speculation, and shares would go up 30, 40, 50 or 100%.
Yes.
Yet we've seen dramatic increases in nickel of late. And other commodities, and we've seen barely a move in the juniors. Now, The metal prices, I don't believe, are going to fall dramatically against even where they were a week ago. I think that they're on an upward trend with volatility on the way, as we've seen. So the only way that our junior resource company market can get back in sync is by the prices of the junior sector going up considerably. And I don't just mean 50% or 100%. I mean many, many times. And that's where I believe, as a private investor, setting aside my public role, where we're going to go. But sentiment is a powerful thing. It dissuades you from buying when you should. It encourages you to buy when you shouldn't. And it destroys private investor portfolios. Yep. So right now, I think when people, honestly, should be looking at investment opportunities, they will be most deterred. And then perhaps in 6 months, when the sector's gone up 5 times, when they ought to be cautious, they'll be a little bit more ebullient.
There is nascent value there, and of course, Paul, as we've said before, the market can remain irrational for longer than you can remain solvent, and it does mean that the market really moves at its own pace, and that valuation gap will be addressed. I mean, as you know, I talk about this and the various companies that we work with on the podcast that I record on, and it's an ongoing factor. At some point, that valuation gap will be addressed, I'm sure.
Oh yeah, I don't think you make money in our space, Alan, by being a smart arse.
No.
I don't think you make money by being the best, trader investor ever. I think you make money by positioning yourself in underappreciated, undervalued stocks and sitting on your hands. End of story, really.
That is exactly it. Well, you put a tweet out to that effect yesterday, and I think that's you've basically summed up what we all believe and what we're all feeling. And of course, sometimes when the markets are like this, you're probably better off not looking at your portfolio and just waiting for a change to come, because a change will come, and that's the way the markets have worked over the years. You and I have seen it. So just really to summarize, back to power metal again. Near-term milestones. Of course, we've covered the gold metal IPO. That's imminent. What other key value inflection points do you think we should be looking out for?
It's a difficult one for me to answer with all the stuff that I know about and in the pipeline and moving forward without making a mistake. I think our exploration programs are really going for the jugular in terms of answering the exploration questions. At any time, something can happen in our business exploration-wise that can markedly change its underlying value. The IPO process, the corporate activity, well, we're about to see one hopes first-class metals, in which we have a circa 36% stake at the moment, make its way to the market in London, and then golden metal. And then we have other, vehicles in process as well, with FDR and New Ballarat Gold in Victoria. And as those start to come in, people will see, and I think we'll start to believe the model that we're developing on the spin-outs, on the corporate disposals and that kind of thing. So those are important events too. But I think more importantly than anything right now is that we're going to see a sector change, a sentiment change, in the sector. We're going to see an inflection point where we go from rabid misery into a sudden turnaround that will surprise people. It will confuse people, and it will certainly not be accepted by the market until it really kind of kicks in. Because at first you think, oh yeah, my stock's up 40%, so what? It will be down, at the end of this week, and it suddenly won't be, and then it will go up another 100% the next week. Yeah. And I think at that point, alongside what we're doing inside power metal with our corporate work and with our exploration work, both of which can deliver major transformational value for shareholders, I think at that point, investors who are watching us, I know they are, from the communications I receive, from the data, the amount of website views, from the social media level of engagement, I know we're being watched. When the sector turns around sentiment-wise, we will see an influx of investment in our proposition. And it's interesting because we've been through quite a period of selling in our share, which I believe, is coming to an end. And alongside increased demand, you can have quite dramatic turnarounds in our space. I've certainly invested in a few over the years. I think I'm running a potential big turnaround story now. I know I'll just be there with the investors cheering. I can't turn my screen off, Alan. I don't know about you. I'm just not able to turn the screen off. I monitor everything.
This is what we do. This is what we do, isn't it? Yeah, we're here 24/7. And yes, it is the phone by the side of the bed. And yes, if I do wake up in the night, as one tends to do at our advanced years, yes, I will take a look at the phone, because it's just the way it is. You know, you've got an interest in the markets. We love what we do. And a turnaround is imminent. Absolutely.
Yeah. So the only question, Alan, is do you look at your phone before or after you go to the loo? Because that's commitment for you.
Yeah, before and after. Okay. Well, Paul, it's been great talking to you again. And I know it's going to, the markets for small cap mining stocks are going to turn dramatically at some point. And I'm invested. I know you're invested. Let's get together again in a few weeks and look at the markets and see how things are going. Paul Johnson, Chief Executive of Power Metal Resources. Many thanks for joining us today.
Thank you, Alan.